Okay, Josh, what have you been doing?
What have I been doing? Okay. Well, I finished watching both seasons of that show, Kipo. What's the subtitle? Like, And the Age of Wonder Beasts? Really good show. Definitely recommend it. And then a lot of Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. A lot of it. Finished all the tracks. Unlocked all the racers. Doing the mirror races now. It's been a lot of fun. Like, it plays so well.
Yep.
It's so damn well.
One of the few N64 games that still plays well.
Yeah.
Because most of them feel like dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
They usually look like shit. That's just going to be a thing with that era of games. But normally they also play like shit. But yeah, Racer has aged well, thankfully.
It plays really well, feels really good. I'm actually thinking about double dipping and getting it on PS4 as well.
Yeah. I mean, you get to experience it again.
Yes.
Although you told me about a stupid part of it that is actually a very bad design flaw.
Yeah, it's a little annoying, especially when you're trying to finish the later races, and you kind of want to go back and grind.
Yeah, I was going to say, and for those who don't know what the flaw is, and wasn't sitting in a pre-recording conversation.
Right, yeah, so if you finish a race, you don't get to earn money from it if you do it again.
Which is dumb.
So I have mixed feelings, because it is a bit annoying, but it also kind of enforces that you should make good decisions with your winnings. Which is why I usually just dedicate my time to a specific character. So that, I just modify that one, do the upgrades that I need, and, go through it. But yeah, it is a little annoying once you beat it, because say you want to upgrade some of the other racers, then you don't really have as much funds to do.
I don't remember that being... Maybe I just didn't play it enough when I was growing up, but that didn't seem like a thing when I first played it. Mm-hmm. I don't remember getting stonewalled by stupidity.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just seems like if someone out there, if we're just fucking up and there's like a way around it and we just don't know... But I feel like that'd be a hard thing to not figure out. Obviously, if you're doing stuff and not getting anything, that's pretty clear.
Right.
I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah.
That's fucking dumb.
I mean, fortunately, most of the racers you unlock, they already have, like, really good stats.
Okay, so it's not really necessary.
Right. Like, I've been doing the mirror races with Sebulba, who has pretty good stats. I would say the shitty thing about him is shitty traction, shitty braking.
Which is weird, because isn't Sebulba supposed to be the ace?
Well, I mean, he cheats. But yeah.
Isn't he supposed to be the ace? I mean, LeBron cheats, but he has rings, so I mean... Yeah, no.
Yeah. He gets a flamethrower,
being the ace is that's just part of the game.
Yeah. I don't think any other pod racer in the game has a weapon like Sebulba does. I don't think any other one does, but that's always fun. But usually I'm always in the lead, so I never really get to use the flamethrower anyways. Mm-hmm. But it is hilarious. Otherwise, well, actually, no. Last night I hung out with some buddies with Dink's Discord. We watched parts of the MMA fight last night. That was interesting.
Yeah, I never watch MMA, so...
Yeah, I don't really go out of my way to watch it, but...
Is it like UFC or league? Okay.
Yeah, it was UFC.
Because there's like a lot of leagues, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah, apparently they were on some island and there wasn't really a crowd. Like, it was just
right, because social distancing.
Yeah, and I only got to see like some of the later parts of it because Dink eventually... Like, Dink was just watching it by himself in the little Discord chat, and he was like, I wonder if I could just broadcast this.
Was he doing the cam girl thing and showing you the thing while he's... See, I don't know if you guys know, because this is, I think, the thing of, like, well past, because there's a lot of ways to watch streaming now, but what people used to do when you wanted to watch a pay-per-view, like Manny Pacquiao, like 30-second fight or something like that, there would be cam girls that you could watch that would be like... It'd be them, but it'd be on the TV in the background. So you're not necessarily illegally streaming it. Right. She just happens to be watching it while you're watching her. So that used to be a get-around.
Or the guy that green screened himself with the controller.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
you could do that.
It's a game.
Exactly. Right. So there's workarounds, obviously.
He didn't do it through Twitch. It was just within Discord. And we didn't hear the audio. I don't know if that was like a setting issue or whatever.
I was gonna say, I guess that depends on how he had it set up.
Yeah.
Because you should have been able to.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't need to hear what's going on.
No, you do need to hear the visceral man grunting while they're touching each other. It's part of the UFC experience.
Yeah.
It's like having... Never mind. I forgot my mom listens to this. Anyways, anything else? Great.
Off the top of my head, yeah, I think that's... I can't really think of anything.
Epic. John?
Well, I just bought that Pod Racer game because that was my shit when I was a kid.
All right. More Pod Racer.
I think I still have. The OG cartridge. But I've been gaming more. A lot of Halo. A lot of the Yu-Gi-Oh game on my Xbox.
Nice.
Legacy of the Duelist or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what are your thoughts? On that one?
What's up?
What are your thoughts on that one?
Say again?
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, to be fair, you're like looking away from the mic as you're talking to John. That's why I can't hear you. You already talk quiet, so you gotta...
I like it. It lets me, build like practice decks, and I just built one like IRL, so I'm probably gonna use that against my buds who still duel.
So,
but it's fun.
Isn't the problem with a TCG in game format, unless it's getting live updates, which it could be, I don't know. It may be. Legacy of the Duelist could be getting monthly updates, I don't know. But isn't the problem with a TCG in video game format that it gets like out, like what if the meta update? For example, if you pop in the Game Boy Pokemon TCG game, I'm fairly sure it's not up to snuff meta of the current Pokemon TCG thing.
Absolutely not.
So I'm wondering, does Legacy of the Duelist have the same problem where it's stuck in whatever the meta was when that came out, or does it get updated?
They recently did an update where they added the full campaign for Vrains. Because at the time there were only 3 chapters because the anime was still ongoing. But the anime's over with. And even though there's only... Like, the only English dub is being aired in Canada and not America for some reason.
That's weird.
Yeah. In the update, they have the full campaign on there. They did add more cards. But I know the ban list on there is a bit slightly different than the actual ban list. So there are a few
differences.
Yeah.
Well, at least it's not super dated like the Pokemon one I was talking about. So that's pretty good. Not bad. So get some love. That's good.
Yeah.
That's
Only
good.
problem is I don't think they're gonna keep it up.
Of course not.
But
how old is that game already?
Almost going on a year.
Oh, okay. So it's definitely not new at all. I mean, it's not old at all.
Yeah.
So
not the oldest.
It may not be supported for long term.
Yeah. 'Cause I forgot when I bought my Switch, but I remember I picked that up before I even owned the Switch. I just bought it because...
Well, you have like a physical one? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because a lot of stores weren't getting pre-orders in for them, so stock was very... Limited, yeah. I even remember on the internet, or like Discord and Twitter, people were like, geez, I'm going to these stores and can't find any copies of it.
Mm-hmm.
So... Yeah, I made sure to pick it up before I even owned the Switch. Yeah.
Alright, Johnny boy, what else?
That's it. Kinda had a pseudo week off, so...
Oh, yeah, good. Hopefully you got some rest. Mallory?
I worked a lot this week. I've been writing a lot. Didn't have much time to game because this weekend was my birthday.
Yeah,
so,
happy birthday. I mean, I greeted you the other day, but still, happy birthday on the podcast.
Yeah. It's fun. I went to Natural Books. Never did that before. Got super anxious.
Wait, hold on. You did what? Sorry, it cut out really bad. I don't know if you can switch to speaker also, just because Are you using a headset, or are you already on speaker?
I'm using my earbuds.
Oh, okay, yeah, because we had that problem with John too, and when we switched him to speaker, it worked a lot better. Because what happens is, when you guys do a lot of high traffic talking, it fucking cuts out really bad. Like, I was listening to the last episode before I had John switch over, which, like, sounded so much better once he did. But, like, he was trying to explain some shit about Halo, and I have no idea what he said. And then we had him repeat it afterwards, and it was fine. But, like, he was just like... And then,
can you hear me better now?
Ooh, look at you. You sound like you're here.
So clear.
That sounds good. But anyways, you did what now that you've never done before?
So I went to Natural Bridge Cavern, which is like a cave here in San Antonio.
Yeah, I haven't been there.
Like a connection of caves.
Yeah, it is. I went there when I was really young. I was wondering how much it's changed, but you wouldn't know because you weren't me when I was young.
Yeah, I didn't go when I was younger. So that was fun. Got a little anxious, walking into the cave. And then I had a wedding to go to, which we were all social distancing, all wearing masks and stuff, so we were being super safe.
Mm-hmm.
And then today I just went and hung out with family because I didn't get to see them for my birthday, so I went to go see my mom for a little bit. But other than that, I haven't really been playing any games other than like this breaker on my phone. So that's been entertaining me for the last 3 weeks.
Well, whatever works. Any type at this moment, because yeah. Uh-oh, I heard someone peeing in the background. I'm just joking. I don't know. Anyways, anything else before I was gonna go. I was kind of just gonna take a shot in the dark that was it. But anything else before I?
No, that's about it. How was your week?
Pretty good. Oh, thank you for that transition. Okay, so for those that were mentioning the awkward, long ass, draws between our weeks sometimes, it's just we don't want to cut each other off, and I know that it sounds really weird when it's just yeah, and then it's just and then the next person goes. But I'm trying to make it more organic, but again, without being able to kick these people in the shins and whatever in person, it is a little harder to direct. So I do apologize for the awkwardness sometimes, but that's just what that is. Aside that, I was actually productive in the sense of not really playing much. I've just been getting absolutely wrecked in Legends of Runeterra, so that's not as fun anymore. I think the last update fucked up the meta of my deck, so I don't know that I need to find a new deck to play because I think the one I have has just been had. So even though I ranked up quite a bit with that, I have to check now what's going on with that because they did update. They did do some balance changes, so I need to see which of my cards are worthless and what I should swap out for. The good thing is, like any other card game, there's a lot of people that are keeping track of all that stuff and can have good replacement suggestions, so we'll see on that. That's pretty much it for gaming. Deadly Premonition 2, gonna get to that. Still trying to get emotionally ready because even though I didn't wait the full 10 years like people who played this game at launch and wanted one did, I still have been waiting since whenever it came out on Xbox 360, so that was a long time ago. So I've been waiting for a while, obviously, but gotta get ready for that. Have been staying away from any media regarding it whatsoever, reviews, even I even skipped out on this week's episode of Jimquisition just in case, Jimquisition podcast just in case he talked about it. Not sure if I'm going to skip this week's House of Super Beast, but I do know that if Pat does give a spoiler warning for it, I am going to skip that section at least. Just because I want to go into it blind. I've had my concerns because the game is known for its classic jank, but if you break it too much now, that's a problem. And if you have it too clean, that's a problem. So the game was pretty much destined to fail. However, well, technically it wasn't even destined to be, so that's arguable that it was destined to fail even. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm just trying to, honestly, and I know it sounds, very exaggerative, but it is a big deal for me because this is a game I really have wanted to have a sequel. I even replayed it right before the sequel got announced, and so I was already on a high about it, and then they announced the sequel out of nowhere, and that it was going to come out, 3 months later as it did, and so it's just a big deal for me. It's an important game that I didn't think was ever going to get more content, and now I'm just really worried. Not that I don't trust Swery. I think Swery would have done his best, but just concerned. And by the way, for those of you who are bothering Swery for codes because he's a nice guy and would probably give them out if he really could, stop doing that. That looks really cringy on Twitter to be adding people or adding Swery rather and being like, "Come on, man, give me a code." It's if you really like the game, fucking support it. Yes, some people got review copies, I'm sure. But if you were meant to get one, you would have got one. So as far as I know, why beg for one? Nothing wrong with that. Anyways. But don't fuck with him just because he's a nice guy. Because he will ban you. He's not Kamiya, but he will ban you. Aside that, so Legend of watched all of the reboot, or not even reboot, the new series. Technically it's the new season of Unsolved Mysteries. Good shit. A lot of crazy stories. Unlike classic unsolved mysteries. Each episode focuses on one story instead of like 3. I think like the average was like 2 or 3, or sometimes 4, depending on how short they were. But these were all focused on one story each episode. And the thing I'm really happy to hear about, I've been keeping track of like stories related to it just because I really enjoyed it, is a lot of quality leads have been coming out of it. So I'm happy that a lot of these cases are starting to move forward now, 20, 30 years after when people thought there was nothing going to go on anymore.
Right.
There was a particular episode that definitely hit home to like current and kind of made me think about how it's sad that shit like this is still happening, where this black dude got killed at a house party for being black. And it's just crazy. And that was like ages ago. And like we're still facing stuff like that now here in 2020. And it's just insane to me that we've pretty much haven't grown at all, it seems, as a society. Obviously there's good people and there's bad people always. But it's just crazy. It just seems like there's been no social progress in that aspect, which is crazy.
They don't have the same announcer, do they?
No. I didn't even know that guy's alive anymore.
I have no idea.
I forgot which show that guy's originally from, but it would always say, it's hosted by, whatever the fuck. But no, there's not even a narrator anymore. It's just, it starts, and then the interviews take up the whole thing, and then it's just, The only thing that's like the original one is the font and the classic theme song, the eerie theme song, which is still pretty creepy. I watched it every night, late at night, with all the lights off, like fucking so. Pretty creepy atmosphere, but the stories were real enough where it's not like, oh no, the alien came out. Like, it was just like, it's real shit. Although, there is an episode, I don't want to, but people, it's paranormal. It is a UFO episode.
Yee.
And, here's what I'm going to say. I don't want to make fun of the people that are in that episode, but it's always people that I just wouldn't trust. Are always in these UFO documentaries. Yeah. Every time it's UFO sightings, it's like redneck screwed his cousin 8 times guy going like, then I saw it. I goddamn saw it. And I'm like, why can't you be a trustworthy person in these interviews? Why isn't it a normal person, like, like Jose Gonzalez that works at fucking Smoothie King walked out. He's like, man, I walked out and I saw an alien. It's always like, damn, I goddamn saw that alien. Or they're really old people that are pretty much senile already that are just like, that's it. And my kids were with me and I saw them. And I saw that alien. And I'm just like, why did none of you seem like reasonable people?
It's not the cataracts, it's aliens.
Yeah, that's the only thing I hated about that episode is like, I want to believe in aliens, but then like, all the interviews in that particular episode where everyone else seemed reasonable every other episode, that one was like, oh god. But there are some great, and they're real, so I am saying this with sensitivity. I understand they're not great, quote-unquote, stories. But it really does make you appreciate that sometimes a not exciting life is a good one sometimes. When your, parents aren't trying to kill you or whatever.
Right.
Like, there are some wild-ass things where I'm just like, I'm glad that kind of drama don't exist in my family. So, yeah, so I watched all that. Oh, Space Force, right. So I watched all of Space Force. Don't know if I like it or not now that it's over. I wrote a mini review of it on my fast book that's not public anyway, so not like you guys could have read it if you're listening to this and not friends with me. But the basic gist of it is Steve Carell. John Malkovich is pretty much the only one acting in that entire show. And the daughter is an annoying piece of shit that I wanted to die every episode because she would just get herself into situations in which I would be like, please die, please die, please die. It's supposed to be growing pains. Her dad moved to another city, so her life is, her nice stable life is ruined because her dad has to head Space Force and all that stuff, so they have to move. And she's just this angsty bitch the whole time, and I'm just like, I grew up in a military family. We moved a lot. I wasn't an asshole about it. I just was like, it's just the way it is. Like, why are you a bitch? And that's the thing, it's never justified. And it's also really inconsistent, and I don't know if that's the writing. Well, it has to be the writing, obviously. For example, spoiler for Space Force, who gives a fuck. Towards the end, there's a particular scene where she's, being an angsty teen about shit. And she also looks too old to be a teen, but whatever, anyways. And she goes, these guys, really shady guys, walk out of a gas station. She's there to, just get a drink or something, and they come out and they just go, yeah, you should come with us. And she's all like, fuck it. And she gets in the back of she cusses a lot, and she's edgy. And she gets in the back of their pickup truck, and they're driving, and they're taking her, to the middle of nowhere. And then she's just like, guys, let me out. You should stop the car and let me out. I'm like, what did you think was going to happen, dumbass? You even said fuck it. Like, what happened to fuck it? That was like 5 minutes ago that it was fuck it, and now it's, I'm scared! I'm a dumbass! And nothing happens, of course. She literally just leaves. Which is dumb. I don't know. There's a lot of moments like that where I'm just like, her whole storyline can fuck right off. As far as the actual storyline, it's weird. It's a weird thing. John Malkovich is the head scientist, and Steve Carell is the general, 4-star general, and they both work at Space Force. Technically, they're counterparts because military brain of the operations and then the science of operations. And what happens a lot is you have moments where Steve Carell realizes that not everything can be brute force. You can't just shoot everything, and sometimes you got to think. But then other times, John Malkovich has to realize that sometimes the military way of like brute forcing things can sometimes force is kind of necessary in conflict situations. And so they're supposed to be trying to learn off of each other, but it's just very, I don't know. The humor's very ham-fisted. A lot of it's all left-leaning humor because Hollywood, but it's done in a very like, so they never address Trump by name, but obviously it's Trump. They constantly talk about, oh, the president tweeted this or whatever, and like obviously who else was that active on social media than the current Führer, right? And it's just a lot of the Trump is an idiot. And it's just like, yeah, but give substance. Like, it's easy to say he's a dumbass. Like, that's the easiest joke on earth. Like, Trump's a dumbass. Like, whoa! Classic writing! It's just like, you know, but Josh has heard some of this. I know some of this is repetitive but for him. But the final thing I want to wrap up on is, like, there's a Russian... first of all, the social media dude that's from Community, Aziz Ansari's cohort, is in the show. And he's really annoying and not funny. Like, I thought he was not funny in Parks and Rec. He's not funny in this show either, because he literally plays the same character. He's supposed to be this, like, upcoming social media guru because, you know, he's young, he's hip, he knows the lingo. But he's just really cringy the whole time, which is kind of his design, but at the same time, if it was funny, that would be more, you know, whatever, but it's not. And then you have this Russian character who's the obvious, Trump, he did the Russians thing. Guys, Trump and the Russians, it's unique, right? It's a humor that's never been had before. It's just, like, come on, let's hurry up, where's the punchline? Just fucking move on, get it. Yes, the Russians, Trump, that happened, okay. Like, and what? And what are you adding in this fucking show? Oh, nothing, great. And that's my biggest problem with it. It was like 10 episodes of nowhere, and we'll see. I wanted to like it. I really did. I do like Steve Carell, and I think that, with the exception of the daughter, it has substance somewhere. I just hope that it has a good season 2. As much as I hate having to say, it's like, say season 2's good, as much as I hate having to say, oh, it gets better, you just got to get it through the first season. I hate saying that, because fuck CW. But I just hope it does. But we'll see. But anyways, so far, couldn't recommend it. Watch it if you have nothing else to, but there's probably tons of other stuff on Netflix that are worth watching more than that. It's alright. A lot of budget going nowhere. You can tell it, obviously, the cast is all these crazy, like, popular comedians. They're obviously it's all HD, 4K, whatever. If you have a 4K TV, you can watch it in, you know, HDR if you have the premium Netflix on, you know, whatever. But not worth it. But yeah.
I forget there's that premium Netflix thing.
Yeah, Netflix is already included in my phone plan, so I don't pay anything. So to get that one, it was like $1 more. So I pay $1 for Netflix every month. Anyways, for premium Netflix, so yeah, it's not bad. And I think that's it. And before we move on, if you want to catch any of the videos I haven't been making, you can find all that at SlimAsianEntertainment.com. You can find me on all the social media places at ZDRocker. And you can also find, of course, this podcast at DisconnectedCast.com. I just realized now why I go last. Josh, where can everybody find you on the internets?
YouTube, Sheryl Play5, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, at Yoshiro Joestar.
Mallory.
You can find me on Instagram at awesome_Mally. And that's it.
And Johnny Boy.
Just Instagram _
Oh no, I can't hear you. You sound like you're asleep.
What? Just Instagram _ Evil Dead Guy.
All right. I feel like everyone's presences are slowly, like, everyone's starting to disappear off the internet. I'm going to start being like, I didn't renew the podcast domain, so we're out of here. No, I was joking. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. I love you guys. I just wish our con plans had happened. RTX, racist Japan. I mean, San Japan. Everything is just kind of falling through. So we'll have to see. It's funny. I just realized the joke racist Japan can go both ways. Of actual Japan being xenophobic as fuck and Dave Henkin being an asshole. So there you go. Racist Japan is a double joke. Good job, everybody. Alright, so everyone knows Epic Games, Tencent. Tencent has a major stake in Epic Games, basically is Epic Games. Well, they obviously make Fortnite. They're making the Pokemon MOBA and all that good stuff. And now, Sony has invested $250 million in a future collaboration with Epic Games. There is nothing on the table. They just went ahead and put money on the table and said, hey, Epic Games, here's $250 million. If you remember us, we're Sony. Remember that we kicked in $250 million. All right, hit us up maybe in the future for a game. A really weird thing to do, especially when you have Halo. Oh, you didn't have Halo. Jesus Christ, what am I saying? Especially when you have Sony simping to Tencent. It makes you kind of realize how big Tencent is. Sony is this tiny blip compared to Epic Games and Tencent. Like, it's insane when you think about it that way. So yeah, Sony's simping for Tencent, so there's that. We'll see what it comes to. Maybe they will actually make a game. Maybe Sony will call exclusive in the future, something like that. We'll see. But very unorthodox for such a big company to invest in theoretically nothing.
Right.
So we'll see where that goes. Sega putting out a mini arcade, $120 retail, at least based on the Japanese listing of the yens. But 120 USD if that price stays consistent. It'll have about 36 games. If anyone's tried any of the Neo Geo mini arcades, it's a little bit bigger than those. I want to say it's like the size of like an extra large drink at QT, kind of like that big, which is better. Because my problem with the Neo Geo ones is you have to buy the additional controller to play it because the buttons are way too tiny. Because you can try to play it. It functions, but it's like this big. That's very good podcast. I'm holding like a 5 or 6 inch thing, and that's about how big the Neo Geo thing is. So it's bigger than that, and it's going to come with 36 games. The ones confirmed for now is Alien Syndrome, Alien Storm, Golden Axe, The Revenge of Death Adder, Columns 2, Dark Edge, Puzzle Zone Action, Tant R, Virtua Fighter, Fantasy Zone, and Altered Beast. Kind of like several ones, like 3 of those I've never heard of before, but then the rest of them are your classics. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of stuff like that. Oh, that was me. That was me on the feedback. I'm getting feedback from somebody now. Maybe Mallory, take me off speaker real quick. Okay, I'm going to talk again. Okay, it was Mallory. Okay, well, Mallory has to move back to headset now. But
is that better?
Yeah, that's better now. So, yes, a lot of the classics. One thing I think is really cool what SNK does is that SNK has that arcade stick that has all the games preloaded. They actually update that with more games. So you do get over-the-air updates that you can actually get more games, which is cool. Because they don't charge you any more for it. You just, when they want to add some more, they add some more.
Right.
Which is really cool. Crash Bandicoot, of course. I don't know if it's out already at time of recording, but they are getting a runner game. Those are really... It was like years ago when Temple Run first came out, it was kind of a unique thing, but then everything, Mario Run, Tomb Raider Run, like, there were so many of them where you're just kind of like, I get it, you, tap left, tap right, double tap to jump, or whatever the controls are, it's like, okay. So Crash Bandicoot's going to be getting one of those because, why not inflate him now that he's coming back with a PS4 game? So that'll be a thing. Speaking of unnecessary... The Persona 5 anime is getting an official English dub, and the Blu-ray set is coming out at a discount. Your discounted price, of course, will be $300. It comes with a few discs, a couple of cardboard pieces of shit that are maybe worth 10 cents each, and that's it. You get a Blu-ray case that houses your Persona 5 Blu-ray discs and your little cardboard trading cards or whatever the fuck, a little stand-up Joker or whatever the hell it's gonna... Basically not $300 worth of shit, I'll tell you that's what it's coming with. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with anime culture to begin with, anime DVDs, especially in the days of Suncoast and otherwise, has always been expensive, To get the Dragon Ball VHS set or to get the fucking individual Dragon Ball Z chapter DVDs... or any other anime, always cost a lot. And what that has a lot to do with, and I didn't know this either, I'm not going to act like I knew this already, but Pat from Castle Super Beast explained it, is the fact that anime has always been overpriced in Japan. So in order to not have them reverse import anime, they have to kind of reflect the Japan market prices over here. So although they don't see it as worth that much here per se, they can't have, Ichiban Man fucking importing the US one and then switching on the Japanese dialogue. In fact, it's why a lot of anime releases here sometimes don't even come with a Japanese track, because they don't want you reverse importing it. So that's why. And that is why, apparently, because of the prices in Japan, that is going to come out here for $300. September 29th, 2020, for anyone who has that much money to burn on some Blu-rays. There you go. Xander Mobus will be playing Joker in the anime. Look at that. Mm-hmm. Who apparently will be... hold on, what the hell? In the English dub, perhaps the most notable fact about the English dub of the Persona 5 anime is that Xander Mobus will play Joker, who is canonically known by the name of Ren. Oh, okay, that's not... Sorry, I read that weird. Yeah, so, why does Xander Mobus sounds... Oops, I just accidentally pasted some shit in front of...
I think he's like the announcer voice for one of the Smash games.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. He is going to voice Joker.
Yeah, he did so in the video game.
Okay, cool. So he's returning as Joker.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the one thing they have been consistent with. Mm-hmm. So I think they did the same thing with the Persona 4 anime. They got the same voice actors. Even with Golden, where they changed it, like Kanji, they had 2 different voice actors for Kanji. Okay. Same with Chie. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there you go. More anime coming out of video games. The World Ends With You is getting an official anime adaptation. I laughed when Wooly for Castle Super Beast put it as, finally, you can experience the World Ends With You story minus the bad controls. For those of you who haven't played World Ends With You, it's a fantastic game that is plagued with some mechanical control issues. Even the Switch port, although a little bit better, still kind of had some problems. Oh, and also, if you have only played the original and not the Switch version, there is more content at the end. There's more. There's another chapter at the end of the Switch version. So that's the definitive way to play it for now. And now you can watch it if you just want to check out the story. Hopefully, it's got great music, it's got cool visuals, and it came out, God, how long ago? Like 2009? 7?
Oof.
It's been a while, because it was like OG DS, right?
Yeah.
So
I never thought the controls were necessarily bad, just a bit difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because you would use the D-pad to control the character at the top, and then you would use the stylus to control next.
Yeah, I think when Wooly says bad, he means that, because obviously he tested games for a living, and any type of difficulty caused by control optionally being bad, where you could have used a select system like L1 through everybody, R1 through everybody to get it, instead of trying to do that shit. I guess that's what he meant, but it is a bit convoluted. But yeah, so yeah, there's that. Amazon Studios working on several projects, but it's not going too well. Amazon announced a long time ago, especially when they absorbed the studio that made Killer Instinct, the new Killer Instinct for Xbox One. They absorbed that studio a while back. They were supposed to be making some games, and they have been working on them, but they haven't been going too well. You had Crucible, which was one of their... I don't even know how to describe that game. It's like a shooter adventure, some bullshit. Anyways, it was so bad they unreleased it. It came out already, then they pulled it to Steam Early Access. Now they've just removed it entirely, so you can't get it right now. So it's back to the drawing board. I can't think of any game that's been unreleased before, like after being released. Patched, maybe?
What about that Afro Samurai game?
That got discontinued from sale, but never unreleased.
Oh.
So if you own it still, you can still play it, unlike Crucible, which no longer exists on anything. It's been pulled entirely. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So if you ever got it, you can't play it anymore.
Right, because it's not ready yet, apparently. They've decided this now after everyone has sold it, so I don't know what the refund situation is going to be, or if there is going to be one, or if they're just going to be like, oh, it's just gone back into pre-order status, or whatever they want to consider it.
That'd be such BS if they did that.
Yeah, so I don't know how they're going to handle that, but that's now been pulled from Steam entirely. They had another one after that happened. They had a new MMO coming out called New World that has now since been pushed out to 2021, which is probably for the better when your other game hasn't even kind of got uncompleted. So there's that. And the funny thing, of course, is they're also the ones that are going to be working out on this Fallout show. So with their track record of video games, and now they're going to take on making a Fallout show, it may be the marriage in hell that we needed to make a really broken TV show. Because I would actually watch a Fallout show if, like, Brahmin are just falling through the earth and, like, anything like that. Like, it'd just be something I would probably find more entertaining than the actual thing. Let's see. Oh, right. So the Devolver video game showcase was recently. Devolver always has the best game showcase, hands down. Usually it's during E3. Obviously, there's no E3 this year, so everyone's kind of doing their individual things. This week was Devolver and Ubisoft's events. So there's that. Oh, for those wondering, because people ask what the squeaking is, that's Josh's phone spinning around towards the microphone. So that's what that is for those of you who was asking what that is. But yes, Shadow Warrior 3, of course. They showed several things. Shadow Warrior 3, of course, was one of the more exciting ones. Shadow Warrior is a niche game. It's kind of like your Doom, your Duke Nukem, those type of first-person shooters, where the kind of twist on this one is you do have guns as well, but your main weapon is a katana. And you play the protagonist, of course. It's a really racist game in a way because it's a lot of Asian exploitation, like 70s humor and motifs. But in a world where we can have shows like Black Dynamite, we can have games like Shadow Warrior, and they do their best to work around it. It's racist, but it isn't, I guess, offensively racist, or it doesn't try to be anyways. It's tough, right? Because humor and you have people who actually consider Boondocks a racist show, right? And you have this one, and it's one of those things where it's hard to call, because let's face it, Asian racism isn't quite held up on this pedestal that other racism is. Hate crimes towards blacks and Hispanics are taken a bit more seriously than hate crimes towards Asians. And unfortunately, that's just the unbalanced world we live in. So Shadow Warrior never does anything weaponized. It's not weaponized, that type of thing. It's just kind of like her, the protagonist's name is Lo Wang. Her, the fucking Asian architect obviously doesn't make sense because it's weird Chinese and Japanese hybrid architect. Like, it's all, but it's never anything like Kill the Chinks or Zipperheads or anything like that in any of the media. So my whole thing is because I always have this conversation with Josh where it's funny how many people think that comedy is at risk because the world is becoming more prone to addressing racism, being homophobic or anything like that. And people's first knee-jerk response is, you're killing comedy, where people should actually be thinking, was this shit funny to begin with? So yeah, the whole reason I'm kind of like doing this weird dance with this game is it's a really odd one to like. I mean, I do like it a lot, but as an Asian, it is kind of like one of those things where I'm just kind of like, it does kind of dip in the foot of making fun of the race.
Like a little cringe?
It's like, yeah, it's weird. It's hard to tell. Like, it's just one of those things where it's tough because I love it and I think that it's a good game, but it's hard not to notice it is kind of a little racist. So, but Shadow Warrior 3 should be good. The combat looks really fun, like always. It's awesome switching between your katana and the gun combat because it's very fast paced. For anyone who's played Doom or Duke Nukem, it's very easy to get overwhelmed, and you do these runs where you're trying to go through the level, and when you get killed, you pretty much go back. If you think about it, those are first-person shooter roguelites, essentially, because you don't get to start in the middle. Well, in Doom... Alright, fuck off. In Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal you do, because they're all modern games or whatever, but classic Doom, classic Duke Nukem, and this game, you pretty much got to kind of get through the whole level without, fucking up, basically. So it's a lot of fast-paced combat. I think that Eurogamer, I forgot the journalist's name, but they put it really well when they were basically like, it's like Ninja Doom, basically, which it kind of is. You know, you got your wall running, and you got all these cool teleport moves you can learn later on, and stuff like that, where you're also throwing ninja stars and using your cool katana and everything like that. So very stylish, very fast-paced, and honestly does get pretty difficult in the later levels. You do find yourself getting overwhelmed with different mobs. Like in Doom and Duke Nukem, it is really cool because there are particular weapons are effective against particular mobs, so you really do have to balance, like, what do you use your pistol against? What do you use your machine guns against? What do you use the katana against? Because each of them have one that they're more susceptible to, so it's very important that you learn the matchups, basically. Instead of elemental types, it's your weapon versus monster types. So you got to play pretty smart, which is pretty awesome. Josh talked about UFC earlier. UFC 4 is coming out, which is weird. I don't know how they're numbering their games. Is it really just the fourth one? I feel like...
Yeah, I honestly have no idea
it's
how
weird,
that shit
but
works.
Yeah, so UFC 4, whatever number game that is it truly 4? Is it the 18th game? I don't know. But that's coming out on August 14th. So for those of you who have been starved for UFC game... there you go, I guess.
Yeah.
I never played them. Sports games are one of those things where like people would always rave about them, and I would always be like, I played NBA Live growing up, but once it became this simulation shit, I don't like it. The best wrestling games were the arcadey brawler types. The best basketball games were the ones that were a little ridiculous. Ever since we just started this 2K simulation shit, that's to me when the WWE games got shitty. It's when the basketball games got shitty. I never really played much of the NFL games growing up, so I couldn't really say, or Madden rather. So I couldn't really say.
I mean, I used to play a lot of Blitz. That
Blitz
was fun. Yeah.
Then see, that's the type of sports games that are great. NBA Street will forever be better than most of the actual official NBA games, like the proper NBA year title games.
And I used to play some Madden with my cousin as a kid. Now I have heard this was more so back then. Like, I knew people that really were into Madden because of the strategy aspect of it. But I hear a lot about Madden nowadays just being really shitty. Like, there's really nothing new being made. And why do they have the need to do it? EA has a lock on NFL, so
yeah, it's weird.
They don't need to innovate shit.
Exactly. So, and of all companies, of course.
Yeah.
Malajon, any particular experience with any of the UFC games, or did you guys play any sports games growing up?
No, not really. I was never really into like sports games per se.
Mm-hmm. Any wrestling games, at least?
Oh yeah, no, I fuck with that. What is it? WCW versus NWO 2009. I think that's one. Played the shit out of that.
That was I remember those games. Was that on? Wait, which system? Wait, that years.
Did he say WCW versus NWO 2009?
Like not 2009. No, it has to be like 99, maybe 97. It was the N64.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember. I don't remember the exact year, but I do remember that on the 64. Yeah. I think that was one of the ones where you could actually run backstage, which is always hilarious in wrestling games when you can just they're like trying to come down the ramp and you can just go up there and start fucking with them and then go fight backstage, because that was always a cool thing that they never really brought back. Like in the later ones, in the PS2 and the PS3 wrestling games, they had it where like there would be like a backstage level, but it would like load in there and you did your whole fight there and it was stupid. On some of these games, you could just actually run to the back, which was fucking funny on a lot of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, good stuff. Good game, John. They should probably. I'm sure there's some rights reasons that they can't, but I would love for that to get on. If they do 64 online for the pass for the Nintendo Online Pass, I'll be so happy, because there are definitely some N64 games I'd like to revisit that aren't Castlevania. Mallory, did you play sports games growing up?
I played Madden with my brother a lot, because we were both really into football.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked just making him mad on the game, where there was like a glitch or you could make your character dance.
Oh, like a showboat thing?
Huh?
Like showboating? Like, I remember that in the... Yeah.
So, like, you could, like, they could be, like, throwing a pass, and you could do it at, like, an exact moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it would fumble the ball if you were dancing on the field at that time.
Funny.
And he would get so mad at me for doing it, but I was like, they shouldn't have added it to the game.
That reminds me of like Key and Peele, the showboating skit on there, where the guy would just get fucking penalties because he was just fucking around so much. See, I missed that shit. You can't do that in the new Madden games. You can just, I don't know, you can't really do anything unless you buy enough points in the gambling shop to make your player better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's that. Oh right, another cool thing that was at the Devolver showcase was a game called Olija, Olija. So I believe Elijah. It looks pretty cool. The style looks like Death's Gambit, which was a side-scrolling, one of the many 2D Dark Souls-like games that came out. So that one, the art style definitely looks great. Your main weapon, you play as this guy. I'm guessing that's Elijah, and you basically your weapon is a magic harpoon that teleports and does cool attacks and stuff like that as you go on. I don't know if it's going to be like Dead Cells or any other roguelite, or if it's going to be more like Blasphemous or anything like that, but regardless, the art style looks great. The one problem I had while looking up stuff to try to look up subject matter for Elijah was just seeing... I hate typing Dark Souls into Google because you get a lot of cringy articles. You either have 20 games harder than Dark Souls, or what would Dark Souls be like if it was a good game, or... if you play anything with Dark Souls, you're a loser. Or it's just like, it's weird. I hate both people that are pro Dark Souls and I hate people that are anti Dark Souls because they're both. I'm talking about extreme right and extreme left in these cases because they're both so cringy. Like the get good losers that are just like, I'm really good at Dark Souls. What other games do you play? I'm really good at Dark Souls. I'm just like, yeah, good for you, fucking idiot. And then you have people that are like, Dark Souls. A hard game does not necessarily make a good game. And I'm just like, yeah, but Dark Souls is good. Like, an example of a hard game that's not necessarily good is Cuphead. So, I mean, there's that. But, no. It's like if Dark Souls was a bad game, then I would understand that logic. But, like, you know. That's actually, that is actually something that I do, feel is true, is that difficulty isn't always... Difficulty as an aspect of a game can be good, but I think that trying to make a game... For example, I feel like that's where Cuphead failed. I feel like Cuphead really did try to be harder than Dark Souls, and because of that, they failed in it being fun. I don't know if any of you guys played Cuphead, but... It was difficult to a point that I just didn't find entertaining before. Redoing that same fucking boss over and over again, or that level over and over again, didn't feel rewarding when you beat it. It just really felt like you either got lucky or like you cheesed that's the thing too. There's not really too many ways you can cheese these bosses. Pretty much, there's a very fixed way you need to do it, and it just doesn't feel as satisfying. You know, I may not have gotten too far in any of the FromSoft games, but anytime I did get to that next section, at least, I did feel like that was very frustrating. But satisfying, and I never got that feeling. You know, I didn't beat Cuphead, so maybe I don't understand the game. But I did beat the first couple of bosses, which were very hard, and I just didn't find it that. No, you're good. Yeah. I just didn't find it really that fun. I don't know. Did you guys know? Did anyone have fun with Cuphead?
Yeah, I still never got around to playing it, but I've watched streams of it.
It almost sounded like YouTuber bait, like. Watch so-and-so rage at how hard Cuphead is. It was almost like it was designed around that. Which is a shame, because aesthetically, it's a gorgeous game.
Yeah, I do enjoy the aesthetics of it, but... Yeah, never played it. Just never got around to it, unfortunately. So
that's the sad thing about games nowadays. I feel like the story of most people's lives is... Yeah, it looked great, never got to it. Yeah. And that, because so many games come out, it just seems like that. Like, First Order... Wait, no, First Order. What the fuck am I saying? Star Wars... what's the Souls-like one?
The Fallen... Was it
Fallen Order? There we go. It's like, that one looked great. I never got to it. And it did look fun. But never got to it.
That's...
And I could probably say that about a lot of other games. And the thing is, I play more games than most people because I find myself kind of pressured to, given the medium we're in. So I pretty much buy and play most games that I think will be good. And even I still pass up a lot, so especially AAA, because fuck AAA titles, there's really no point. But yeah, that game looks good. Ubisoft's bullshit. Far Cry 6 is going to take place in not Cuba. It's so obviously Cuba. Yeah, you're like, I don't know, the cutscene was some Cuban kid and Dictator Man comes in, not Fidel Castro comes in and talks to him, and then I don't know if it's a flash forward or if it's a completely different person, and then they're fighting for La Revolution and all this bullshit, and I don't know, man. Far Cry just kind of lost its thing. Like the last Far Cry, that one spin-off one with like the neon aesthetic was kind of not Blood Dragon, but
the more recent.
Yeah, the one that was a spin-off of the one that was on the same engine as 5. It was like Blood Dragon for 5. That one was all right, but 5 was meh, and then 4 was meh, and then 3 was all right. 3 was pretty good, I think. That was the last one. Far Cry, the weird prehistoric one. That one was fucking boring. I don't know. Just the Far Cry games really did fall off because growing up, I loved Far Cry 1 and 2. I was absolutely obsessed with those games on PC. And then when Far Cry 3 came out, I was kind of like, oh, nice. That this one should be. Sorry, the mic shaking. Sorry. The mic was shaking. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I just didn't want the thing to get all wavy.
Well, just fidgeting.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I got you. It's Cuba, and then there's going to be a revolution. You'll be part of the rebellion. You're playing as a character, Danny Rojas. So, I'm just tired of fucking Far Cry already. God damn it! Like,
like my only experience with it is Blood Dragon. I think I own Far Cry 3 on PC, and the weird thing about Far Cry is I hear people get excited when it comes out, and then a week later, like nobody seems to talk about it again.
Yeah.
So
which is anything after 3. That's a fair reaction.
Yeah, and it really makes me wonder, like, are these games like any good? It kind of just sounds like people just play them and then easily forget them. Yeah,
it's like the first 2 are forever in everyone's hearts that played that. Those are the only 2 genuinely great ones. Mm-hmm. Then, like I said, 3 was okay, and after that, don't care. I mean, Blood Dragon, but that's still a spin-off, so I don't really count that one. It's great, though. It's fucking great.
I mean, I love it for the humor.
Yeah.
Really. And then, of course, all that 80s shit. I think I once heard... I forgot who it was I watched, but I remember someone had some criticism about Far Cry 3, because essentially it was like too similar to the older ones.
Yeah, it was basically a worse version of it. It's like very cut and paste of the scenario.
Yeah, and then 4, and it's like, oh, it's almost the same thing, except you're just fighting this other guy.
Yep, and then 5 tried to be different because it's like this weird cannibal America cult, but I wanted it to be good. I really, really did, but it was boring. The narrative just didn't go anywhere. It's what happened, especially in Far Cry 4 and 5. It's like, do this mission. Oh, first-person theatrics. Like, oh, you did that jump that you didn't really do because it had to be scripted. All right, get in the truck. Oh, you're driving the truck. It's so stupid. Have you or either of you, Mal or John, had any experience with the Far Cry series at all?
I have never had any experience with Far Cry. I saw it and it looked kind of interesting, but I never got into it.
Mm-hmm. Fair. Johnny boy?
I played Primal and part of 3 and part of 4. They're cool, and it's fun to, play for a little bit, but I'm not super hyped about any Far Cry game.
Yeah, that's a fair reaction. It's like, it's a game, and then, like, that's kind of it.
I was gonna say, another thing I think is really weird about 5, some tonal issues, because when I was watching a stream of it, in the beginning it's very, like, it's a little unsettling.
Yeah.
Because, it's far-right cult and stuff like that, and, like, it's kind of creepy because, people like that could actually fucking exist.
Right.
And then, here's a minigame, and screams America, and that's kind of weird. Like, there were just some scenes that just seemed really, really ridiculous that I had to ask myself, wait, is this the same game?
Right, yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, that's kind of weird.
Yep, true that. So that, for those who are super hyped after us just shit-talking the game for the last few minutes, comes out on February 18th, 2021, so you can enjoy your Far Cries around Valentine's Day, I'm guessing. Well, yeah, around Valentine's Day, because I just said the date. a lot of weird comparisons. So Assassin's Creed Valhalla dropped another trailer, which pretty much still didn't really have much gameplay in it. So I'm just getting really concerned with games that do this. Like, why?
Yeah.
If you have nothing gameplay to show, then just fucking hold off. Like, stop showing these pre-rendered cutscenes. And, like, I mean, they show a little bit of supposed gameplay footage, but it just looks too sharp that I don't really believe it. You know, something's just like too pre-rendered. I'm also cringing at all these, like, it looks like The Witcher 3, but better. Wow. And I'm just kind of like, how are you making this? I saw several outlets, and I don't want to call them out because they're pretty reputable ones, like, just dropping weird bait articles like that where they're just like, imagine The Witcher 3 with good combat, or imagine a more expansive Witcher 3. And I'm just like, because it's, like, got Nordic-looking man in it, it's fucking The Witcher 3 all of a sudden. I'm like, what is this comparison? The Witcher 3 is a fucking massive game that's been bigger than, like, any Assassin's Creed has, like, pretty much ever been. It's weird. I just don't. God damn it! I just hate it. It's like when I went down that weird thing when I was looking for articles regarding Dark Souls. I mean, excuse me, that's Gambit, and I found stuff regarding Dark Souls. Just like, why does everything have to be the Dark Souls of something? Like, to the point where that was almost memed on a lot because of the fact that it's such a ridiculous
claim.
It's like Dark Souls isn't even, yeah, because like Dark Souls isn't even the hardest game like ever made. No. So like, why is it always the weird pedestal like of like difficulty? Like, this game, you gotta be harder than it. It's like
Dark Souls is the Lion King of action RPG games.
Exactly. I was gonna say why, because it had a bunch of unnecessary sequels, but that's not true. Dark Souls is actually good. Lion King had the unnecessary sequels. God damn, the Lion King sequels are so bad. I don't want to go too much of a tangent of it, but did you watch like Lion King 1.5 and Lion King?
I didn't see Lion King 1.5, but I did see Simba's Pride.
Oh my god.
That movie wasn't that great.
No, it was pretty bad actually. Several people at Ubisoft, 3 high-ranking executives have stepped down due to sexual assault allegations.
Oh, jeez.
So, Ubisoft... It's weird. Ubisoft put out this weird, like, press thing being like, oh, see? Oh, we're not afraid to change staff if they do bad. And I'm like, you mean if they get caught doing bad? I'm just like, y'all can't act like this is like you guys punishing the 3 high-ranking officials. It's like, they got busted. You guys had no choice. It's not like you guys were going to keep them on. It's like, I don't know. Their weird press conference letter was fucking dumb. I was going to read it, but it's not even amusing anymore. It was funny at first when I read it, and I was just like, fuck off. That's just dumb garbage. We talked about Tencent trying to rule the world earlier. Tencent's actually looking to buy Leu. For those who don't know who that is, they own Warframe. And they also worked on Gears Tactics. Why do they want this? Because Tencent loves the free-to-play model. Now, Warframe, unlike most free-to-play games, is actually a really good game. It's actually really free-to-play. And it's also turned around big time. For those who remember Warframe from when it first came out, that game was pretty bad. It really was. But with a lot of hard work, the team has turned it around, and truly, you really only need to pay. Well, you don't really need to pay, actually. That's the thing that is nice about it. So, Warframe got some good stuff, and Tencent wants a piece of that pie because it does make a decent amount of money still, because people do like buying cosmetics and whatnot because... Oh, and there's also like an expansion you can buy, but... for the most part, they keep it to like reasonable amounts, and people, of course, do still like the cosmetics. Cosmetics will be, and people will like them, and it does help these devs. This is a small developer, so I don't know. I really kind of hope they turn down Tencent, because although Tencent, honestly, not every company they have touched has gone to shit. I just get really worried though with this monopoly thing, because like you hear about Tencent owning a majority stake in Epic Games, and you hear them, approaching all these other companies, and then you have other companies like Sony and probably Microsoft too, and an example I can't think of, that are also kind of funneling money back, and it just looks so shady. Like all these big entities, especially China, kind of like almost having like their hands in all the pie holes in the North American market now.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to refuse, right? If they're willing to fucking bankroll you as a developer or a publisher, it really is hard to just say no, like in a business standpoint. So, but yeah, they love their free-to-play games, and they would like to add Warframe to that. So there's that. Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt Red have announced that they have no plans to put it on Xbox Game Pass. The reason they want to address that is a lot of games launch and are already on Xbox Game Pass. So they just wanted to let everybody know that there's no plans for it, at least not right now. Maybe when it becomes an old game, but it will not launch on there. In good news, Monster Hunter the movie has been delayed. Well, it would have been better news if it was canceled, but the Monster Hunter movie has been delayed to 2021. For those of you who have you guys seen the trailer for the Monster Hunter movie?
I haven't seen it. I've only seen like production stills. Doesn't look good.
Mel, Sean, you did, yeah, a little bit.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, it looks really bad. It stars Mila Jovovich as Marine Lady. Basically, they get pulled into Monster Hunter Dino World, and they must overcome and learn the weapons of that world because their shitty marine tech does not do anything to these monsters. So they must learn the crafting and armor ways of the Monster Hunter world to become the Monster Hunter. It's bad. It looks really cringy. It looks like they were like, what made Resident Evil movies not good? And then they cut and pasted those elements, and then we're like, it's like Resident Evil with Monster Hunter, and it looks cringy. I really hope they cancel it, but I think they've probably put so much money into it. I don't know if, who's Mila Jovovich married to that puts her in like everything?
It's the same director.
I'm fairly sure it's that guy. I think.
Isn't it like Paul Anderson or something?
Paul Anderson, I think. Wait, that's
Paul something.
I don't know. There's a Paul W.S. Anderson, and there's two of them.
Jeez. Hold on. Going to IMDb.
Yep. So, well, Josh...
It is the director of the Resident Evil film.
Okay, yeah, so...
I know that.
Okay, yeah, so, there's that.
Yeah. Because... it's a very weird... It's like you're just making movies for your wife to be in.
Yeah, pretty much. And I know that didn't Kate Beckinsale's
Paul W.S. Anderson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't Kate Beckinsale also married to a director that puts her in everything?
That I don't know.
Okay. I thought, but yes. Mila Jovovich is going to be in a bad Monster Hunter movie. This is the problem with when you just approach somebody and you're like, ever heard of Monster Hunter? And she says no, and then you're like, perfect. And then you cast her for the fucking movie. Not that you should put every fan or nerd into a movie and that'll make it good, like putting John in a Halo movie may be good. I don't know. It may not. John, should we put you in a Halo movie? Am I gonna try to get independent film artists to try to put you? Should we get with Michael and put you in a homemade Halo movie?
Yes, please.
Honestly, bro, we'll talk later, but that actually could be kind of funny. Well, we could try to do like a serious one, and then we can have Plan B be ironic comedy just in case. We'll see. It'll either be a masterpiece or we'll go with Zoe on it.
Put that on the board.
There you go. Capcom.
She's married to the director of Underworld.
Okay.
Apparently, so she met him
while working on Underworld.
Yeah.
And then they got married, and then they made 1,000 more Underworld movies that were bad.
I guess that's how it.
Yeah. I'm a fan of the Underworld series, but my God, were those later movies? What the fuck were they doing? Capcom says that 80% of all its sales are digital. So I think that is a statistic that is taking over most companies, and it's just the world we live in now. Now, I understand, of course, preservation and being scared of stuff being pulled off the market. But how do you guys really see physical games being... You know how they're like slowly stripping them down, no more manuals. Some of them don't even come with it's just a download code inside of the thing.
Yeah.
How many more years, or do you think this generation will even go all the way through with physical games still, or are we pretty much is this the generation where it actually might phase out?
It'd be awkward if that was the case, considering that PS5 made the physical version. However, it also kind of leads to think that probably is the direction, because there's the one where it, doesn't take a physical disc.
Xbox did that this generation, and next generation, PlayStation's going that direction. So yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, this almost seems like the final time there might be that option, and then next gen is when they're going to just totally adopt, just digital.
Yeah.
You can have your PS5 if you want a physical disc thingy, but no more. It's crazy. It really does look like we're going that way, especially if Capcom is not the only company that is pulling like 80% of their sales. That's a shitload. You could pretty much just shit on the physical customers at that point, like the 20%, and be doing great. Like for example, if you take the sales of Monster Hunter World, which is theoretically from time of existence to current point the best-selling Capcom game. That is a huge statistic that you could still probably keep even if you chop 20% of the sales off. So it's one of those things where it is interesting that it seems to be going that way. But, of course, we have talked about the concerns before of now we are going to be at the complete mercy of them just pulling it off of the store or whatever when rights expire.
Yeah.
Disney, of course, is notorious for that because how many times, like DuckTales Remastered and then, nah, it's gone. So there's that. Oh, right, and then one more thing. I don't know why I split it up like this. Excuse me for that. But at the end of the Devolver Showcase, there was a glimpse of No More Heroes 3, which makes me wonder if Devolver will actually be publishing that one. I don't know. I forgot who published them before. I have it actually here, but I don't want to knock over my shelf of games. But I don't know who... I know it wasn't Devolver, but that would be really interesting because No More Heroes is the kind of ridiculous game that could probably do good on their publishing. So, good. And then finally, you know what? This isn't really a timely topic anymore, so I'm not even going to go in. I think we're just going to wrap it there. The final topic was going to be, let's think of ways that if EVO does come back next year that we could keep it safe. But EVO's probably dead, so it doesn't really matter anymore. You know what, Josh, as our resident fighting game man, what is there another tournament you're aware of that you think would be a great or potential place to grow to take in place of EVO? I forgot which one Wooly said. There was a particular one Wooly said that would be a nice one to maybe be the next EVO.
The two big ones that come to mind are probably going to be Combo Breaker or CEO.
That was the one, Combo Breaker. He was saying that one could maybe eventually grow to be the next big one. And what was the other one?
Probably CEO.
Okay, yeah. So that's the one in Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Jabali.
God damn, I love Dive Kick so much. All the idiots that they're based off of, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good stuff. I know in the upcoming Xbox Series X event, Halo is actually going to be revealed. So, John, you're definitely going to... I definitely want you to be kind of the resident thing on that because I do want to talk quite a bit about Halo because there's a huge chunk I jumped out of and I'm very curious what happened. Maybe not just story-wise, but kind of like your take on when Halo was good and maybe not. And then what your impressions are of the new stuff. Because Halo definitely, when it's up, and it's had its downs too, though. So I'm very, you love it. So I would definitely like to see your thoughts on where you see it going. Because who's working? Is it 343 now?
Yeah, it's still 343.
Bungie was up to what?
Reach, and that was it. Yeah, 343's first thing was the Master Chief Collection.
Oh, wow. Okay, so definitely. So later. They didn't... Wait.
I thought they just started with 4.
4 was by who?
No, that's 343 too. Yeah. So was that first or was MCG first?
MC would have been after 4.
I think so, yeah.
Because Halo
4 came first.
Because Halo 4 was on Xbox 360, right?
Yeah, that's right. MCG was Xbox One.
Who did ODST?
Yeah, so Halo 4 came first. That's right, yeah. ODST was Bungie. That was one of the... I think that was right before Reach.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and so, I don't even really know that, so yeah, we'll figure that out whenever they do reveal more Halo stuff, because I'm very curious if Halo's going to make its big comeback. And I have a very, very sneaking suspicion, actually just putting the dots together, but I feel like this Halo might actually launch on PC, which would be very interesting. Because Master Chief Collection on PC's definitely gotten new players to play it. I was telling John about how Wooly just recently beat Halo 1, and he loved it, especially because he really tried to think about how epic that game was, especially when it first came out.
Yeah.
Definitely a big deal. Revolutionized first-person shooters as we know it. It was definitely, it borrowed a lot of its ancestors like Doom and Duke Nukem, but the regenerating shield and all that stuff was just something that every game would copy after Halo. So, very important game. I feel that if Xbox had ever an offering that was... Because Xbox, especially tech-wise, has contributed a lot to the video game world, whether people want to admit it or not, and I feel like Halo is definitely probably that prime offering. So, So we'll get into that sometime. Mallory, any closing thoughts? Did you want to say anything to the peoples before we wrap it?
Just stay safe and stay positive.
There you go. And until
just not COVID
That's
positive.
about all I got.
there you go. And we're actually going to air on Monday again, finally, after 2 weeks of not doing that because I'm a fucker. So other than that, we will catch you guys every Monday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, except for when it's not. And until then, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah,